Okay,
It's
loading.
loading.
Yeah, it's visible.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, it's okay.
A very warm welcome to all the speakers, audience, panelists who are present for today for the webinar Improving and Measuring Effectiveness of L&D with AI, which is presented by Assist by AI platform. Let's see the agenda for today. So I'll give the presentation on SSY AI platform, which will set the context and builds the context for today's panel discussion. And then we'll see the panel discussion where our experts will discuss on the topic where improving and measuring the learning outcomes in L&D. And then we'll see the AI in action where my colleague, Mr. Purvesh Mahatre, will show you the demonstration of SSY AI platform. And then we'll open the door for question and answers by participants, closing remarks by panelists in the last. So I shall start by welcoming all the panelists for today's panel discussion. So the moderator for today's discussion is Mr. Bhupesh Daheria, CEO of Aegis School of Data Science, founder of SSY. We welcome you, sir. The panelists are Dr. Kirti Sharma, Head of Curriculum and Training, Bharti Airtel Foundation. We welcome you, ma'am. Mr. Vivek Sharma, Head Training and Development, Aavas Financials Limited. We welcome you, sir. Mr. Sumit Savne, author of Leading Learning for Organization in the Age of AI, advisor of SSY. We welcome you, sir. Mr. Muthukumaran, Assistant General Manager, L&D Guardian. We welcome you, sir. Dr. Arpita Singh, Lead Learning and Organization Development, AVP, HR Hitachi Payment Services. We welcome you, ma'am. Mr. Ravi Kodukula, Founder, Director, Advitam. We welcome you, sir. Ms. Anju Boban, Learning and Quality, Epoch Elder Care. We welcome you, ma'am. Mr. Vishal Sharma, Head of Learning and Development from Antier Solutions. We welcome you, sir. Mr. Devdatta C. Peshkar, Head of Training and Development, Generic Art Medicine. We welcome you, sir. And Mr. Purvesh Mahatre, Head of Customer Experience, SSY. We welcome you, sir. So, before getting ahead with the panel discussion, let me walk you through what SSY is. So, every year, companies spend many amount of money in order to give the knowledge on learning and development. But despite this fact, majority of the companies can't measure whether this investment is really helping the employees to learn better or deliver the business value. Here we are, SSY AI platform, to overcome this issue by learning and training on autopilot mode in order to develop an agile learning organization. So let's look at a short video where it gives the insights about our SSY AI platform. Yes.
Envision an agile learning organization where your employees don't just complete courses and attend training programs. Instead, they actively learn, produce results, and in autopilot mode, continually evaluate and validate their proficiency levels. This process generates actionable insights, empowering you to allocate jobs, tasks, and projects, and even predict outcomes. It answers the crucial questions: who knows what, and who can do what? With Assessify's AI-powered auto-evaluation along with auto-personalized feedback, highlighting areas of improvement facilitates active learning. And the best part, it works seamlessly, whether the training is on coding, technology, AI, sales, marketing, you name it. Our revolutionary platform is poised to redefine your learning and development initiatives in transformative ways. Curious about how we make this magic happen? Dive in and let's explore the future of learning together with Assessfy.
Yes. So basically, the gap between learning and development is more critical. And despite over $352 billion spent globally on L&D, fewer than 25% of organizations can actually measure will this impact on performance and ROI on the employee. So there is a struggle where it determines whether employees have truly learned and acquired the necessary knowledge and skills what the L&D really required from them. And then if we can't measure, we can't improve, because L&D is no longer about producing the content, creating the content. It's about learning and measuring the learning outcomes in L&D. So the limitations and challenges are very crucial because the current platforms don't give that clarity to us because the real knowledge retention and skill application is is a limitation. And then the reports which they generate is like complex and resource intensive. The only solution is that to have an advanced learning measurement tools which delivers actionable insights to enhance training impact. So let's have a clear view about the key challenges in L&D where completion is not equal to learning and there is no clear ROI and insufficient feedback given to the learners. Measuring learning and outcomes is very difficult and then the investments are not measured. So these are like some of the challenges. Now let's see how Assess by AI will overcome all of these challenges with its capabilities. Assess by AI is built to help organizations to move from activity-based learning to outcome-based capability building. So using Assess by, you can measure learning outcomes with the frameworks like our Patrick model and gain clear insights about how employees are performing, are they mastering skills and applying that, and get a clear picture about how the higher cognitive capabilities are increasing in your employees' knowledge beyond MCQs, and efficiently manage ongoing assessments to keep tracking, and then use AI to automate all the evaluation process and deliver the personalized feedback automatically and get the actionable insights for strategizing and implementing various learning interventions. So with all these steps, you can automatically develop an agile learning organization where learning and training will be on autopilot mode. Let's see Assessify in action. So one of our clients, a leading fintech company in India, so they wanted to assess a nationwide multilingual field sales team they have. So using Assessify, they evaluated 12 core competencies across 4 different languages. They used the real world scenarios for targeted skill assessments, and they gave the personalized individual development plan for each employee. And also they delivered everything through a secure mobile friendly platform. So what is the result they have got? So they have received the fastest skill identification, targeted training, and they produce the individual development plan for each employee. And yes, Assessify has simplified the Kirkpatrick implementation in learning and framework effectiveness. So using Assessify, you can collect data from various sources, you can comprehensive that and then generate the actionable insights. So with Assessify AI, organizations can seamlessly operationalize the Kirkpatrick framework, which otherwise seems a very difficult task to them. And then Assessify also measures proficiency across various cognitive domains. So it simplifies the employee's capability, whether they are simply recalling the facts or they can apply complex concepts, and also whether they are able to analyze the real world scenarios, you can evaluate that. And also you can find the where are the skill gaps as well. So with this, you can develop the personalized individual development plans, which will be both meaningful and measurable. So Assessify is unveiled by Honorable Education Minister Sri Jayant Singh Ji on 20th Feb in New Delhi, where our world's first learning outcome measurement platform is unveiled. So this is, and you can contact us using this information where you can implement Assessify in your organization as well. So without any ado, we shall start the panel discussion. So the moderator for today's panel discussion is Mr. Bhupesh Daheria. And the panelists are Dr. Kirti Sharma, Mr. Vivek Sharma, Mr. Sumit Savne, Mr. Muthukumaran, Dr. Arpita Singh, Mr. Ravi Kodukula, Ms. Anju Bobin, Mr. Vishal Sharma, Mr. Devdatta, and Mr. Purvesh Mahatri. So I kindly ask all the panelists to switch on their video, and then I hand over this session to Mr. Bhupesh, sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Catherine. Thank you
Yes, sir.
so much. It was a nice presentation, and I think this has also set up the context for all of us. Can you stop sharing your screen, please?
Yes, sir.
So good evening, good afternoon, good morning, everybody, all of you, the speakers and the delegates from across the world. I, Bhupesh Daharia, I extend very warm welcome to all of you for this exciting panel discussion on how we can really leverage AI for measuring and improving learning outcome. Now, so we have amazing lineup of experts with us, those who are doing day and night this job, and a person like Raviji who has spent his entire life in this area. I think I'm really excited that we'll have very insightful conversation. Of course, we have disappointingly only 70 minutes, 60 minutes to really carry this discussion, but let's try our best. So, uh, Peter Drucker said once, he said that what can be measured can be managed, right? Uh, of course, not everything can be measured, and not everything is easy to measure, just like, say, learning effectiveness, right? And perhaps that's the reason we all are here and trying to really uh, figure it out how we can really measure, and not only limiting to the measure, which is perhaps negative connotation, how we can really leverage it to really improve the learning outcome. And for next 70 minutes, we are going to really discuss on all these aspects. So let us take a deep dive into the various aspects of this panel discussion. We'll try to really focus on primarily 4 or 5 areas. One is starting with why, how, and what of learning outcome, right? Because a lot of people are not from the L&D, so we'll try to really set up the context. Then how learning effectiveness is different than the learning outcome and why it is so important. And the third, of course, area why we are here, how we can really what are the challenges in terms of really measuring learning outcome and learning effectiveness, right? And fourth, seemingly a godlike tool, Brahmastra AI is there in everybody's hand. How we can use this Brahmastra to really measure something which is seems extremely difficult. And finally, we'll really think about, do the some brainstorming, how we can really operationalize, how we can really embed this AI into L&D while all other departments, all other industries have aggressively adopted it. With this, let me throw a question to Raviji, to over to you, right? Since you're the most experienced guy among all of us, right? Uh, what do you think? Why learning outcome is so important, and what is exactly learning outcome is, right? And what are the kind of challenges organizations are facing? Your thoughts on this?
Sure. Thank you very much. First of all, Bhupesh and everybody else, thank you very much for the invitation. It's always good to be amongst Buddhijeevis and learn from them. And Bhupesh, don't go by this. This is, I'm 18 till I die, DYE. This is the new Lohial shade, for all that you know. So the learning outcomes and the importance of that has always plagued most of us in this space for quite a number of years now. And come Bloom's taxonomy, come Donald Kirkpatrick and his son David Kirkpatrick now, and a host of people, including my esteemed colleagues on this conversation, Sumit Sani, for example, who is an author, and I've had a glimpse of his book when I read that a couple of years ago. The point is not about the outcome from a learning perspective, but I think it ties back with the overall return on investments or even the dollar value that it converts to at the revenue, at the highest level of the revenue churning for the organization. And some of the experiences that I have had in my past life, I am now by myself. The idea of connecting it back to the even the share price of the brand and the product or the organization or the firm that is listed is also equally important. And that is the level of engagement and the measurement and the outcome that I think some of the firms are looking at. Many are not. We are perhaps looking at a level lower, which is, okay, so I've taught you something. Are you effective in your role? Are you churning out the metrics that you're supposed to in your role? And am I satisfied with that level of measurement? That is where most organizations are. I would love to take this a step beyond and connect it back to the share price of the brand itself. So that would be the importance that I would lend to it.
I think you have taken it to absolutely different level, right? Not only like measuring the like customer satisfaction or perhaps like reduction in the tickets, right? Or maybe revenue increase, but of course the share price, which of course market penalizes or rewards you based on your outcome, right? How you're performing. And we are seeing, of course, in all modern age organizations, which are driven by the knowledge and innovation, and we clearly see how learning and knowledge can really impact their longevity, their survival, and of course, not only on the stock price, but the each employee how much money they are making, right?
Oh, yeah.
A
Yeah.
wonderful point.
Hmm.
Right. So, Sumit, over to you. You're a thought leader. You have written a book, right? And you have several years experience. You have implemented a lot of L&D policies on the ground. On your experiences, what are the primary challenges, right? So, if learning effectiveness or learning outcome is so important, right? Why organizations are not able to really roll out effectively, and not why most of the organizations are not measuring the learning effectiveness? What are the hurdles?
Thanks, Upesh, and thanks, Raviji. You mentioned you've read my book. I must confess it's long outdated already. The world with AI and technology has moved so fast. When I wrote this book, ChatGPT wasn't even a thing. And AI was just brewing, and I'm glad we are here now in this space where technology is making it easier, but organizations are struggling. One is, I think, still there is, you know, at an awareness level, there's a lot to be done within the learning organizations in companies. I talk to through my consulting discussions through a lot of organizations, and I am still finding that a lack of awareness exists in terms of, yes, there is technology. In fact, there is information overload, but have we been able to distill to how do you leverage the right technology for the right solution? Am I
Right.
going to use a basic, if I call it an AK-47 to shoot an ant? Or, I mean, am I boiling an ocean here, or is there a simple solution for a simple need? And people
Right.
are still stuck in the measurement of surveys and satisfaction surveys, and there is a bit of LMS or LXP enabled technology available, which once people implement, they believe they've got there, or they're there. And somehow it becomes difficult for learning leaders in companies to then sell to their leaders after having invested in a cloud LXP. Now, why do I still need,
Right.
and why can't I still justify performance and ROI beyond a point? So the articulation of what my business is delivering and working backwards to a lot of AI-enabled solutions that do exist today, and stitching them through has become a science and an art form. And one will have to laboriously learn this and acquire the skill now of connecting these dots, of picking the right tools, the right technology, applying the right processes, connecting the dot. How do you collect the data from an organization is itself a big issue. Whole lot of data is getting churned at all points in time. So I see different organizations and different maturity levels stuck in different problem statements. Some people are still looking for the right tool. Some people have not solved their data problem. Some people have an issue of just simple human partnership, of getting the right bunch of people together to generate this solution. And some organizations sadly are still happy just delivering training and then forgetting about it. This whole spectrum exists as we talk. So a whole lot of
Right.
awareness, education, and I believe this webinar is a step in that direction.
No, thank you, Sumit. Thank you so much. I'll circle back with you, right? We'll go deeper into this area. Dr. Arpita, over to you again, doing the follow-up question. Now, what is the current status in India? Are we really paying much attention to measuring learning outcome? of course, through survey, as Sumit said, okay, pre-training and then post-training, we just conduct the assessment for the formality sake, just MCQ, which will really check lower cognitive capability, which has got no value to the business. The on effectiveness, which is too complicated. What is the sense? Are we really taking it seriously? Do really value, theoretically we value, but practically are we really giving some weightage in the real world? What do you?
That's a very important question, and I think that's what all of us will agree, and that's a challenge all L&OD professionals face on a daily basis, is that we are so hell-bent in measuring learning outcomes. Now,
Right,
outcomes they are like the micro level indicators. They will just tell what the learner
mm,
will do differently or has learned to do differently after this training.
right,
But
right,
it doesn't tell you ki, it doesn't give you a macro level picture of the success that
right.
did
Oh,
this learning initiative meet its broader objectives.
mm,
So
mm, mm,
somewhere there is a mismatch between learning outcome and L&D effectiveness. That's the
mm,
biggest challenge of today, because we are thinking that completion is equal to competence, which is not the case.
right, right.
Just because I completed a training today, that doesn't mean tomorrow morning I'll able to solve a customer service problem effectively. There's exactly where we are not able to marry the two. And one thing is to be noted that every learning out equal things. These are quite
Right,
different things. Your
right,
LNOD effectiveness is basically the ROI, what we
right,
basically started with. The
right,
ROI, the productivity lift, the behavioral adoption or retention, engagement, whatever ways you measure.
right,
And the outcomes are basically they are learner focused, they're measurable,
mm,
they are specific, they are short term. The need of today is that a realization that today's skills are going to be tomorrow's fossils. So
right,
the learning outcome have to be married in everyday work. Are we involving the managers while we are curating the content, while we are nominating the individuals for it, and after the learner has gone back to the floor and is working on, are we involving the manager? And
mm,
for
mm,
this, we need three things. First, the right mindset, first, the right tool, and secondly, the right design. And today we are all heavily dependent on LMS, as Sumit said correctly. We're
right,
heavily
very
dependent
true.
on LMS. But LMS will only and only measure how well I have done this presentation and will give me a set of 5 MCQs, will tell me where my score is, but would it really measure my competency level, my proficiency level at work? The answer is no. So somewhere there's a gap over there which needs to be addressed. We need to really know like exactly what we are relying on, and is the tool which we are relying on is actually helping us or just giving a surface level picture of what we are
Very true.
intending to see.
Very true. No, no, thank you so much. You actually nailed it. So, by having spent 3 decades in higher education, right, and I've seen, so we have been using LMS for ages. So, I'm very much critical about LMS. They are more of a content distribution platform. Will come back to the LMS. They are not primarily learning tools, and in fact, they are not designed for perhaps assessment. And you rightly said that we are just assessing at a very superficial level and on a very low cognitive capability, because most of the tools can just simply do the automated evaluation on MCQ. But MCQ are designed to check the recall or perhaps the knowledge on Bloom's taxonomy, right? So that is the lowest level of cognitive capability. It is not actually measuring the higher cognitive capability. So you can't really assess with MCQ that, okay, if you have to really launch a Sesify in Kenya, can you really make a go-to-market strategy, right? Now that you can't really ask if you have done a sales training, right? That's not possible to evaluate those kind of stuff on the MCQ level. So you're absolutely right on that. Coming to Muthuraman, now I would like to really hear your point of view. What is your experience in terms of really learning outcome measurement, learning effectiveness, ROI? What are the practices you're doing in your organization? And then what is your general sense about on this part of the world?
Thank you, Rupesh. I think ROI is a big question, and I think it's I've been with Guardian for about 20 years now, and since
Mm,
the last 20 years, the question always has been in boardroom discussions, or when you go to when there's a proposal that you bring in for any training. I think one of the questions that you're asked for is, what do I get out of this? What is your return
mm,
of
mm,
investment? And
mm,
like
mm, mm,
Dr. Arpita said, and the others said, it's all very primitive, and it has been
mm,
primitive. And we've been discussing in forums and meeting rooms, boardrooms, that, the
mm,
ROI isn't clear. We need to be more
mm,
specific. We need to be more outcome focused. But I think mostly we have been scratching the surface, so to speak,
mm,
in terms
mm,
of, assessing the understanding of the concepts, so to speak. With MCQs, depending heavily on the LMSs, or in a classroom
mm,
setup, more so on the assessments, and then the pre-assessment, the post-assessment, the analysis. There's a lot of paralysis by analysis that we
mm,
do.
mm,
I
mm,
think that has been the journey, and I think it's we need to really evolve, especially as learning specialists. I think this fraternity, as much as we are passionate about what we do and number of things that we do, it all comes down to the actual measurement really is whether or not we were able to make that difference. And but today, I think we most often we go the long route in terms of, like on the functional side, you look at the quality, see how you try to kind of marry multiple things to
right.
see if there's a real outcome. However, I think, I think with AI, probably, I think we may be able to take it to another level. But if you ask me, over the years, the number of things that we have tried, right, from Excel sheets to the
Mm,
LMS,
mm,
and
mm,
all the different platforms, and the assessments, and the pre and the post and the analysis, I think we're just scratching the surface, and it's a very fuzzy topic when you really talk about the return of investment, because
right.
the CXOs want in terms of dollar value,
Yep.
while you as a learning specialist, you're looking at it
Mm,
as an outcome, and for manager, it's about, you're taking my colleagues off um, production. You're promising me X, Y, Z, and how does this translate to productivity and performance? And so it is a fuzzy topic.
no, certainly, like so certain things, it is extremely difficult to put the monetary value. And of course, like there's certain, like for example, leadership training outcome you will see with a longitudinal study, not say maybe in 3 months or 2 months, right, or 6 months. It's sometimes it is difficult, but more on the functional training. Let's example, you train on the machine learning, and the next 6 months you really get the content. You can really easily see the ROI or the productivity or those kind of stuff, right? Having said that, yes, though this is extremely difficult, and as the budgets are cutting down, uh, the board is really asking the question, what is ROI? Give me some correlation. But you're right that since there's so much of data we need to reach and put into the through the Excel sheet, it sometime it appears that is it really worth doing this much of exercise, and are we really getting something right? And can we really establish the correlation? So I carried out a research with around 21 students from IIM Lucknow, and they did massive primary and secondary research for almost 6 months in India. And one of the outcomes came that yes, everybody feel that this is important, everybody knows about that, but nobody is doing anything about that, at least in this part. And then I did some survey in the North American market, what is happening over there, right? So in fact, 2 weeks back only, I had a discussion with the global head of people's analytics of Colgate-Palmolive, Courtney. And Courtney said this 25% what McKinsey is saying is highly overrated. Even less than 10% organizations are able to even measure the ROI. So while yes, we all are trying to really discuss, we need to really also accept that it is extremely difficult, but we are trying to really figure out the ways. Anju, over to you. What are your thoughts on this? If at all we have to really measure learning effectiveness, where should we really start? How we can really make it practical, or what do you think? What are the key challenges that you're seeing in day to day?
So thank you for the question. Actually, what I say, it's my sector is a healthcare sector. It's a dynamic sector. So
Right.
every day there is new techniques comes. So in terms of seeing the effectiveness right now in our organization, this department plays a very crucial roles because
Mm.
without training, nothing can be done. There can be many challenges in terms of being, we can say what I am right now, we are in the healthcare plus hospitality. So the client feedback is we measure as
Mm.
effectiveness.
Right.
Challenges we have many because attritions. Because
Mm.
one of the challenge, apart from that, one of the challenge is the people are not, the staff is not ready to learn. They feel it is a burden. So
Right.
effectiveness comes when we have a audience who is ready to learn from us. This is a burden because the HR
Mm.
team
Mm.
asks them to do so.
Mm.
So
Mm.
when you don't have that enthusiasm to learn, you come
Mm.
and sit and complete the course, get the certificate at the end.
Right.
When
Mm.
we come to measure on the ground, it is zero because the interest rate, there is nothing. And when you come on the practical side, you feel you got the certificate, but nothing is on the ground, practicality.
Mm. Mm.
So that is a major challenge right now, what I feel across all the area, not only on the health sector, any of the department, if you see the audience, the team. So that is the effectiveness where we lack. And
No, no. So
we measure,
you highlighted very important point, human factor. Mm.
yeah, human factor. So it, so that is a, and our effectiveness, we all have in the day to day, we have the two types of clients we have in our department. We have the internal ones, and we, and on dynamic basis we get regularly, we get to the client feedbacks, and this is
Mm.
where we measure our effectiveness on the trading. So this is the way we do it.
No, wonderful. Like this human factor which you highlighted. So, uh, last week, in fact, I met one of the top IT companies delivery head, and he said like, um, my 500 employees, those who had roughly around 5 to 10 years experience, they were rejected by the client, right? Because client now has become pretty fuzzy, and they simply gave them say 100 lines code and asked them, okay, debug the code in this 100-line code, right? In interview, right? And all 500 employees failed, and they're spending millions and millions of dollars of in training. They have the LMS, they have subscribed to Coursera or edX or Udemy or whatnot, right? So, two impact: you lost the business and you lost the face, right? And so while people are saying, okay, ChatGPT can read code, no, no.
But how
Top clients
long?
are saying, okay, can your brain will work, right? So while AI is replacing the human being, all top AI companies are hiring the best brains, right? And giving them millions and billions, whatnot. So, Devdatta, I would like to really hear your thoughts, right? I have no questions. You're free to really make any comments you heard.
Yeah, I have been through. So first of all, thank you for inviting me to this forum today. And there is a really very special saying. It is basically in Marathi that we usually say, "The one who starts at the first has many things to say, and the one who is
Mhm,
about to speak at the end, he's having a lot of questions now what to say."
mhm,
Because everybody
mhm.
has covered everything, and now it is like, now what am I supposed to
No, we are
contribute?
not at the end. We are just at beginning, right? Don't worry.
Right. So uh, uh, I had like number of views while we
Mhm,
just started the session, but just to you can say support some of your views, Dr. Arpita had a really great point that
mhm,
we sometimes fail to involve the managers or the reporting people whom they are.
mhm,
So that's why sometimes or the time before we were having positions named as SMEs, right, subject matter
mhm,
expertise, who used to intervene, who were well aware about the gaps between the learning and the implementations, so that can be implemented again. And there are there are chances that AI can definitely help us out being an SME for some
mhm,
fields or for the particular subjects we are not actual experts about. And the next thing which recently uh, I guess Anju ji mentioned that the enthusiasm, right? The most important point which we are lacking in nowadays is like the less eagerness of the people who are involved into these learning sessions or into these learning processes. Those people are doing this just because this is nothing but a process given to them by an HR,
Very
which
true.
will at the end of the quarter will have something to be credited in their accounts. Let it be a gift voucher or let it be anything which will be gifted from that particular team head, and that's why they are just doing it. So in order to just, you can say, improve their eagerness, or in order to make them realize why learning is important, the objectives should be clear enough that how they are going to improve themselves, not only in this particular team, as a human being, how it is going to take them a step ahead of than other people, so that it will definitely give them a clearer idea why I should involve myself into this, and not only just start the video and do my regular works just to finish that watch time which LMS usually does. So they'll not be involving by that way, but they'll be actually sitting in front of it, going through the content, trying to understand. If they fail to do so, they'll be putting it on a repeat mode to understand in a more clearer way. So having a clearer objective before putting anything in front of the you can say learners is going to help us out in a really good way.
No, thank you so much. Like, so I think this reward and risk phenomena works pretty well. You ask a kid, okay, give me a glass of water. It doesn't bring you. If you say, okay, here is a chocolate, give me water, that's a natural phenomenon. And I think that's how the humans and AI agent both work alike. And that's how I have seen in academia as well. So I think the risk side is not very much clear. The second thing is also corporate lacks in terms of really continuous assessment, right? So there is a policy that just learning actually improves your neurons. That is a policy, right? And learning is not a fun, right? You can't gamify, you do any other thing, right? You can't really make a learning fun. When you really learn, you have the headache. It's not like watching a Netflix. When you really learn, right, your neurons expand. Your neurons try to really build the connection. When I ask a question from you, your billions of neurons get fired, right? It tries to really retrieve the information from short-term and long-term memory. It tries to establish the connection between two neurons, and more I really do this activity, better the recall and better the knowledge access actually becomes, right? And this is how actually learning happens. And when you really do that, your circuit warms up, right? You have the headache and you can't really read 5 hours long, right? So I think that part we have very well understood in K-12 and higher education, but we miss on the corporate because logistically it's not possible for the corporate to really have the continuous assessment, and that's where we resorted to MCQ kind of stuff, right? We very well understand. So let's jump to the second part. We understood what is the problem, why it is important. Let's see how we can really use this Brahmastra AI for actually resolving these issues. So Raviji, over to you. What's your thought? How we can really use this digital brain, which is called AI, can augment the human capability, and how we can really scale it for measuring. Measuring is of course second, the primary objective, how we can really help use it to improve the learning outcome, measure it, and as Devdatta said, and Anju as well, how we can really motivate employees and tell them, yes, that there is something for you, right? There is a reward and there is a risk, both.
Sure. Thanks everybody for sharing your thoughts, because this is definitely a good starter for a conversation. Bhupesh, to your point as to how we can impactfully use this in organizations, and organizations
Right.
can range across a spectrum, as we know. It could be MSME, or it could be a large global conglomerate. And my experience stems from the latter, which is typically the global conglomerates. So
Right.
that said, I think we are sitting on two big bombs, the way I see it. And
Right.
you could sorry, can you hear me clearly?
Yes, very well, very well.
So
Loud
these
and clear.
bombs are, because there are so many wars around, so I thought the bombs are more appropriate in terms of terminology.
Yeah.
One is data, the other is content. Now, you could say data is king, content is queen, or if you will, whatever that means for us. But the point is, one is definitely the horse, the other is the cart. Now,
Mhm.
the way we are aligning these is possibly a reason for us to step back and see what are we doing with the data? Because if the data is
Right.
not aligned properly, the content can go take a walk.
Right.
Because if I were to look at an organization which I was last associated with, 300,000 people globally, the largest bank in the US, and all that jazz about that, the point is, do we have the human capital skilling mapped particularly to the metadata that the organization uses as a system? The HR part is fine. The HR data is fine. You have the demographics, you have all that mapped out. But if you have not been able to step back and map the proficiency levels from a skilling perspective, there is no way you can design the content to map to the data. So I quote a very simple example. In Java and say Python proficiencies that the technology teams had, we did not know, and I still keep calling ourselves we because it wasn't too far away. We didn't know what the proficiency levels are because the content is there. The content is hundreds and hundreds of courses that you can possibly take.
Yes.
But then which course pertains to me at my proficiency, and what should I invest in terms of my own time and the organizational money? Now, if I were to then look at the number of lines of code that I have written over the last so many years, or maybe just take a sample of that and plug it into the system. The data or the system tells me, hey, you have been proficient, say on a scale of 1 to 5, say you're definitely not a beginner, but definitely you are somewhere around in the middle. That then tailors my content in such a way that I only learn from a next level of skilling, I focus on that. And this is on the tech side. And of course, there is so many experiments going on in a host of organizations, and that, Bhupesh, was what I was referring to tie back to the stock price. For example, I'll give you a very simple example. In the contact centers that my previous organization had, both in India and Philippines, we did a fabulous experiment. And this was over a period of 3 months. We had agentic AI assisting pure play human agents. Now, when the agents were in touch with the customers, obviously there was the agentic AI, which was prompting. Agentic not to the tune of 100%, which we believe and we know today in the next level of next generation of AI. It is not pure play 100%, but it is human assisted. That said, it was the other way around in this experiment, where the agentic AI was assisting the human agent. And we measured in terms of cross-selling of products in the retail banking side. We measured 350,000 or somewhere nearabouts that came in because of the agentic AI support.
Right.
That is what I was talking about in terms of how AI or measurement could possibly add. You may say this is production, and people were in production and they were by themselves doing what they were doing. But no, there was content designed, there was prompting, there was assistance by the AI engines, which actually worked through machine learning of hundreds and thousands of calls of similar nature, which then really defined the way the cross-selling could be done. And that resulted, as I said, in $350,000. And that is just a tip of the iceberg. You can do wonders with AI if you were to really employ. But the point is, do you have your king and queen lined up, or the horse and the cart lined up in the way they should be? We talk about outcomes. Let us first get the input right.
Yeah, very true. I think, and you rightly pointed out that yes, we have to really map with, of course, our outcome, what we want to really achieve, right? So, of course, the top stuff is yes, we have to improve your stock prices, right? Which will be improved with our revenue, our margins, our productivity, right? All those kind of stuff. If we really have to complete the project in 6 months, we have to complete 6 months. We can't really complete in 9 months. And yes, so as you gave the example that yes, you can really pick up the few lines of the code, and this one of the solution we have built for one of the leading organizations. We are saying, okay, our AI agent will fetch the code, right? And then because the outcome, immediate outcome of training outcome is that they should really pass the client assessment, right? And client is not going to really ask them what is Java or what is Python or what is machine learning. Client will really give them the code, and interview will ask, okay, give me the response right over here, right? And there's the dual camera proctoring. You can't really cheat. You can't really take the help of the co-pilot, right?
Yep.
So,
And I must
yes.
yeah, sorry, please complete.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, please.
Yeah, I must admit, I'm one of the first call center agents in this country, even before call centers were born.
Yeah.
I was with American Express at that time. 1992 is what I'm talking about. Call centers came in mid-90s. Now, I was often advised to keep a mirror in front of me.
Okay.
35 years later, that mirror is AI for me, because my AI is prompting me. And today we are in a generation 4 of AI, Bhupesh, and I'm sure many of my esteemed colleagues would know this or are actually employing and applying this. The generation 4 AI is really looking at how to measure your tone and manner, your voice, your empathy in the voice, and your facial expressions through a video recognition.
Yes.
That is the level of that mirror that I was talking about, which I kept in front of me 35 years ago.
Yeah, it's your digital guru. Like it's everybody has got the surcat in their hand and they can really have the conversation, or maybe a Saraswati Devi. So, Sumit, over to you. You're expert in AI, right? How do you think that L&D professionals can leverage AI in terms of really streamlining their L&D operations, improve learning outcome, improve learning effectiveness? A few tips from you.
First of all, completely agree with Ravi on getting the data and the content right as a base. On that point, what I'd like to say is start small, start with an area, identify your universe as a small one to start with. If you're going to do this for the first time and if you're going to do it really well. So for example, pick up a process, pick up one process, one region, one subset within your company.
Right.
I would say start defining the universe from scratch, as if the world didn't exist till now. Look at what are your basic skills and competencies for the job that you want to measure outcomes for and design for. Start there. So once you start there, is then I want everybody to look at who do we hire? How do we hire? I want to start there. Because when you go there, you'll start leveraging AI right there. Right? How do you bring in people for what skills and competencies? And from there, you go to the life cycle. Once you've hired right, how do you handhold? Now, very important to understand today from an AI perspective. Ravi mentioned agentic AI, right? Not everything needs to be taught anymore. There is a difference between skills and knowledge and information. There's a lot of information. What would you provide as support around the employee? What would an agentic AI come and pop up and support and help with? And what does the agent need to do? So you narrow down your universe of what you want to skill versus what you want to surround and make available. That's the process. You have to define that really well and then design that workflow accordingly. And then finally go on to the process of skilling and then, evaluating on the job how that skilling is panning out as somebody is taking a call, as somebody is responding to a customer, or in a real life scenario, how are they solving that problem. If I was to layer this whole piece on Kirkpatrick, for example, your level 1 reaction is that AI powered sentiment analysis that Ravi gave an example of. Level 2 learning, so your automated skill assessments and knowledge checks. Level 3 behavior, your performance analytics tracking or behavioral change in your workflow. Level 4 results, your predictive analytics, connecting learning to business outcomes. So that way, you deploy your entire AI. Now, in terms of, I would say there is a final piece to this, which I would recommend, in terms of, I would say there are 4 pillars. There's a real-time learning analytics one needs to think of as you're designing around this process. How will the continuous assessment and feedback loops be connected during, so I made an error. Am I getting a feedback loop from the systems that we have designed using AI? Hey, you've made this error, or half of your team is making this error. Let's say you're using agentic AI. Where are the employees really leveraging agentic AI? Where is it generating the maximum ROI for you? That's where you double down. If you have generated a chatbot, now you don't think of chatbot as an assessment tool by default, but it is, because if I as an employee am asking a certain question, and if 50% of my floor is asking the same question, that's your training need analysis. The chatbot is answering a certain kind of question. It's telling you what people are seeking help with, right? So that's your real-time learning analytics that needs to get deployed with AI. There will be a behavioral pattern recognition, AI driven, that can come into play as we are working through workflow integration. There could be predictive performance modeling, where we have connected learning outcomes with performance metrics. You forecast the skills learning, the skill needs, and the learning ROI for each skill. And how do you early identify at-risk learners? Again, using that AI. And then address your energies on that subset rather than the entire floor. And that leads you to personalized learning paths for everybody. So what does Sumit need versus what does Ravi need? What do you need? What does Anita need? It's a unique path for me. I may not need help on many work types, but I may need help on one distinct thing that I can't upsell. For example, I can do empathy, I can do everything, I can't upsell. And I need my agentic AI to come in for me there. But for you, agentic AI should come in to check for the right time to show empathy. That's where AI needs to go. And it can go if we take a small subset and work backwards to sort of build this whole story out. I'll take a
Wonderful, Sumit. Wonderful. You're bang on. So, Sumit, you rightly said that we need to really start from the outcome. And I think corporate is lagging behind. The academia across the world has jumped into the outcome-based education. So the government of India in new education policy has implemented outcome-based education, right? So now the government says we all are product of objective-based education. Okay, teach them Python, teach them marketing, teach them sales, right? Okay, teach them optical fiber. What we learn, what knowledge we gain, what skill we really gain, nobody cares. Now the government said under the Washington Accord that, okay, define first outcome. Define what kind of competency, skill, knowledge you will gain, right? What is needed for my organization? Let's example, if I'm an AI company, okay, am I going to really get a project on agentic AI? So let me start training people on the agentic AI, not maybe some random machine learning algorithms, because in next 6 months, I'm going to get the agentic AI projects. So you start from the outcome, and based on that, you actually design the assessment. Content problem is solved. Now, today you have the chat GPT, which is like a Surcat, which has created a very robust knowledge infrastructure, chat GPT or alike. You have YouTube, you have Coursera, you have tons of LMS. So content problem, food problem is already solved. The problem is basically, can you really digest and improve your biological neurons? Digital neurons has already going to really replace you. And that's the challenge. And I think you rightly said that start from backward, what you want to achieve, and rest everything will really come aligned. Vivek, over to you. Thank you so much for joining. Right, but I think you must have gathered the context by now. We would be eager to really
100%.
hear your thoughts.
100%, and apologies for joining late. So probably I missed some context.
No worries.
But I was really excited by what Sumit was mentioning. And the reason, I would like to build on what Sumit said, and there are two cases that we already have. So Awas Financiers basically is an affordable housing company, and the last 6 years that I've been associated with, it has exponentially grown. So in terms of understanding what is needed by the customer, that is already solved. So one Sumit mentioned about selection. So there is a huge, so around 5,000 people are there, which are relationship officers, which are in the field. And one of the projects that we did last year was, and I don't know whether I should have checked with the CPO whether I should be sharing it. But one of the projects that we did last year is that we utilized an organization and we identified 377 ROs who have been successful for the last 2 years. So the attrition rate was hovering around 120%. And what we did is that we used an organization, and again, utilizing AI, we found out what is the ideal profile out of those 377 ROs successful. What is the profile? And then we created a gamified assessment, which is completely online, mobile based, and selected people through that. And the attrition rate today is 56%.
Wow,
So
amazing.
from
Brilliant.
120%, it has gone down to 56%. It's we just presented to the senior management and the board. So that is one, and I think this is one big application. It's like electricity metaphor. Today, so 50 years ago we were using Silly Batta, and now no one uses that. Everyone uses Mixie or washing machine or so on and so forth, because the electricity is there and 10x happens. So maybe gradually over a year we would have figured this out, maybe in 2 years, but now with the AI that we are figuring out. Second is in terms of learning. So Sumit was mentioning about learning. And again, last year we launched, a couple of years ago, we actually launched a project, but last year we actually fructified it to a large extent, where now people can upload their videos. And I think that's very much known. And you are giving feedback. So 22 years ago, when I joined HDFC, we were video recorded as training managers and given feedback by the facilitators and so on and so forth. Now, what happened 22 years ago? Now that is possible for a large universe of 5,000 people, and they are uploading the video and they are getting specific inputs and feedback. So this is training need analysis, TNI to one person, and learning bites which are there, which are needed by that person. So I'm not saying it's still a success. We are figuring it out. We are talking to another vendor, and maybe in the next 3-4 months we will kind of launch it completely. But this would be another game changer. So whether it is individualized learning bites, whether it is identification of TNI to the last mile, or whether it is getting the right profile, I think the implications are humongous. And this is really interesting and interesting times for all L&D professionals. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much for your insightful comments. Dr. Arpita, over to you. How we can really use AI to really transform L&D, and what kind of roadmap or adoption bottleneck you really see?
So basically, AI is your best hire till now. And that is something all L&D and all HR professionals should keep it in mind. That's the most cost effective, I'll say. Even if you take the example of ChatGPT, and if you take the help of the pro version of ChatGPT, it is just less than $20 a month. So at 1,700 or 1,800 bucks, you're actually getting an intern for free. So that is the efficiency of AI in today's market. AI is not here to replace jobs, but it is here to replenish jobs. You can do much better at a larger scale with the help of AI. And AI, I think, helps you to build a continuous learning culture that is more scalable and measurable, because it helps us to design for agility. We are away from that time when we were just building courses. Now we are building ecosystems. So AI will think less about what to teach, but more about how people will learn on the fly, in real work, in every day. You can actually build learning in the flow of work through bite-sized, through contents, through tool tips, nudges, simulations. Also customized learning pathways based on role, performance, and aspirations. Secondly, in getting the leadership buy-in, AI is a wonderful tool, because if leaders don't learn, the culture won't either. You can build learning KPIs for your leaders, such as coaching hours, mentorship contributions, LNOD engagement scores. There are so many metrics which we can't even think of, but AI thinks of, and it's able to normalize that upskilling at every level by having those adaptive dashboards for each level. So as a manager, I'll have a different dashboard to see, but as a leader, I'll have a different dashboard. As a learner, I'll have a different dashboard. And all this thing will be done at the click of a button. That's exactly how AI helps. Then, Your content, definitely. You have to continuously refresh your training with the market pulse. Now, if your learning content ages faster than your business, you will always be behind. You will always be a cost center. AI will scan your industry trends, it will understand the competition shifts, and it will understand the internal skill gaps. That will be a very good, it's a diagnostician at your hands. It's a doctor on the floor. It is going to review and recalibrate your L&D roadmaps. And I'll say that as leaders, it gives us more time to review our own L&D plans. Earlier, it was a yearly plan review. Now we do it quarterly. With AI, we'll be able to do it on a daily basis. And make AI as a co-pilot. AI will turn your manual learning into autopilot learning. It will suggest personalized next step. It will track the proficiency development. It will give micro feedback. It will identify your skill agency or the talent mobility which you need. It will help you to deploy scalable and smart platforms. And by scalability, I don't mean just more modules. It will be a relevance at scale. So with AI, you can touch every point of a employee life cycle, from automating onboarding, compliance, your mandatory learning, while it will also customize your advanced learning path. And best last thing is that it is going to enable social learning and knowledge learning communities, because peer learning builds credibility and social learning builds sustainability. You will be able to create the communities of practice, your peer forums, buddy systems, all the things that are on the go, reverse mentoring, internal MOOCs. So with AI, you don't build a learning culture through training calendars. You are building it when learning becomes invisible. That is, it is embedded in your tools, your habits, and conversation. That's when it scales and that's when it sticks. So these are some of the things which I think we all know ki AI will help us to do. Now, the biggest challenge in today is selling this to your board, selling this to your leadership team, selling this to the business. And at times,
Operationalizing it.
normalizing it. At times, there's a paranoia around it that AI is going to come, it's going to take my jobs. First, we need to adopt it at every step and of the way and show that, see, I used to take 60 hours in delivering this content or this training. Now I'm able to do it in 60 minutes. When we show the real value, others will definitely follow. So show that we are not afraid, because what is a traditional thought? AI comes, then trainers are not required. AI comes, then we don't need an LNOD manager. If we are the ones who are embracing change from our own side and we are enthusiastic about it and we are showing them that, see, AI is my buddy and I'm able to do much better with AI, business will have reinforced their trust on you. That's exactly how you get the buy-in, first by embracing it completely. So with this, just one message I just want to give is that treat AI as your best hire, your best intern, as your best buddy, and you will never be disappointed, and everything else will be a cakewalk for you.
Completely agree. Totally agree. So thank you so much, Dr. Arpita. You have really created a grand vision and a grand vision how AI can really assist organizations in multiple areas. But as we say that any grand vision is as good as the operational plan. Otherwise, if you don't have a very strong operating plan, every grand vision can turn into a daydreaming, right? And that's where we require a very strong operating model, which requires people, process, and the technology. Of course, technology is there in abundance, AI, agentic AI, but I think people is a problem, leadership mindset, and those who will be using it. I think we have to really go a long way. Uh, Vivek, you were raising the hand. Would you like to really give some pointers in terms of how do we really start and operationalize this?
No, on that, probably I probably would not have a pointer, but one caveat
Yeah,
I would
please.
like to add. And that
Yeah.
caveat is, for example, I started using Gemini a lot for finding answers. And that caveat is that AI lies. So
Right.
sometimes, rather many times, it will give you an answer. It will make up an answer and give you. So just as because and just to please us or in whatever way. So I was preparing for there was a book lovers meeting that I had, book club meeting, and there was a book that incidentally I had read. I was inquiring about it from Gemini. It gave a completely fictitious answer. I gave a reply that this is not the right, this is and this is a different book. Again, it apologized profusely and again gave a wrong answer. So the point is that we need to be careful in terms of that, number one. Number two, so therefore I'm excited about an AI application, Notebook LM. And
Right.
Notebook LM, why? Because now we can upload the content from our site, and let's say that I have PDF of 10 great books, and only I need an answer from those. So already the books are authenticated because I validated, I have read it, or I know that the author has done the research. I think that's where we L&D professionals will have to be a little careful in terms of deploying it in an intelligent way. That was the only point I wanted to make.
No, wonderful. This notebook is amazing tool. I have been experimenting and using it in the classroom. AI actually doesn't lie. The problem is like, I remember in my college days, my professor asked me in Viva, tell me about triode, and I only knew about diode. I started speaking about the diode, right? So this is a hallucination. So it is like, say, if AI doesn't have that knowledge, and that happens with the human being as well, right? So if it doesn't have the knowledge, it will not be able to really answer. And the way fine tuning is done, it will really try to please you and give you any random answer. So Devdatta, what are your thoughts in terms of how we can really, from where we can really start implementing this AI, one or two points, if you have in your mind, very briefly?
Yeah, definitely. So recently, I had a chance to go through an article written on LinkedIn,
Hmm.
and it was talking about the
Hmm.
virtual reality, which
Right.
actually makes a sense. While if you get into the AI, that VR learnings and VR platforms are getting like famous, or you can say popular nowadays. So that is another part, as Sumit rightly mentioned, that it isn't possible for everybody to be everywhere and train people or deliver their
Hmm.
expertise at some point, right? So virtual reality can really help us out, and that actually can help us on creating the simulations for some situations. It can be
Hmm.
again trained what is the standardized behavior, or you can say many of the things like we come across, it is difficult to trust AI when it comes to soft skills training and the behavioral trainings, right? So VR is something we can look up to, and which can definitely give us some simulations of some situations and how the learner is reacting to it. As Sumitji rightly mentioned, rerouting can be another instruction given to that particular AI system. If this particular pattern is not observed, you can start the journey of that learners from that particular point where he ended, or the previous point where we feel like he is incompetent enough. So VR is something we can definitely look up to and can consider as an option.
Wonderful, wonderful. So we'll see the magic of AI in real action. So my colleague Purvesh Matre is here. So Purvesh will walk us through how whatever the problems we have discussed so far, right? And what Assessify has done. And please hold back. And once Purvesh finishes this demonstration in next 10 minutes, we will like to really open this floor to audience for question answer. And we would like to hear the closing remark from all the speakers, and or if anybody from the audience would like to really make the comment, you can really request to activate your microphone and video, and you can also jump on board. Purvesh, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
You have 10
I
minutes.
hope I'm audible to everyone.
Yes, 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 loud
Yeah.
and clear.
Thank you. Thank you. So again, good evening to everyone, our esteemed panelists, the participants. My name is Purvesh. I work here as an head for customer experience. So we had a very informative webinar on how we can improve and measure the effectiveness of L&D with the help of AI. And I can truly say that this discussion was very informative and very well articulated. So let us quickly walk in. Let me walk you through the Assessify AI platform, how really we can help the L&D heads, the supervisors to use the platform and improve the or measure the effectiveness. So let me quickly share the screen and share my presentation here. Yeah, I hope the screen is visible again to everyone.
Yes,
Yeah,
Purvesh.
thank you, thank you. So let me quickly walk you through the agenda for the today's presentation. So this is my short agenda that I'm going to cover in today's presentation. So to start with the first point, like the multidimensional competency report. So before I show you the actual glimpse of the platform, please look at this video. This will definitely give you an idea what exactly we are trying to do with, or like to say by using the platform. So please have a look at this video first.
Presenting you Assessvi, the world's first AI-powered auto-learning outcome measurement system. Let's look at measurement of learning outcome. A singular outcome like the grade or score of 62 out of 100 is an abstract number, offering no insight into a candidate's capabilities at a granular level. Here is Assessvi AI providing you with deeper level insights into proficiency across the 6 cognitive knowledge and skill levels defined by Bloom's taxonomy. For instance, in this assessment, a candidate performed very well in recall or knowledge and understanding but poorly on higher cognitive capabilities like application of knowledge, ability to analyze, evaluate, and create. Now you can take action based on this insight. Isn't this a better approach than relying on a singular outcome matrix, such as a simple score? Connect with our team today to witness.
So this video must have given you an idea that what exactly we are trying to say here. So the platform not only providing the results, the grades, the numbers to you, but then on the going ahead and differentiating, telling you the what exactly that number means. So the same day we are trying to say in the video, where as you can see on the screen, this is the cognitive report that we are showing, where it measures the cognitive intelligence of the candidate or employee, and then it tells you exactly what that score means to you. Basically, for in this instance, I'm taking an example of Bloom's taxonomy, which is a widely used framework for measuring the cognitive capabilities. Okay, so here it distributes the grades into each cognitive level, whereas the first 2 level definitely tells you that this is the multiple choice or very low cognitive levels, correct? Where the other level, it tells you the deeper insight, the cognitive biasness that the platform has. So let me take you to the next report here. This report is the detailed report where it tells you the topic wise performance of the candidate. Okay, so basically this is the curriculum that they are going through during the assessment. So for each topic, how they have performed, it will tell you the scores, correct? So on the left side you can see the candidate name, and on the right side you can see these are the topic numbers and names basically, and how they have performed on these topics. And once you get the results, this also provides recommendations to the candidates, like, and this is completely dynamic recommendation that it provides what are grades or the level they have achieved. For example, for each topic, on that topic it will provide the recommendation, and not only to the individual, that is to candidate, it also provides the recommendation to the organization, like if the score is average, if the score is good, on that basis these recommendations will get changed basically. Then this is the part where we have the intelligent reports that the platform has. Now the platform, as we say, intelligent assessment platform, we also need the intelligent evaluations as well, basically, because just to plan the assessment and to hand over it to the employees or candidate, it is not enough. So here this will help you to plan your schedule the assessments as well. On particular date, this will be attached to their calendar. So once they are going through the trainings, with that training you can attach these assessments as well, so you can plan basically. Then this platform supports different types of assessments, where it starts with the multiple choice assessments. It has a coding assessment, oral assessment. And why we are saying it as intelligent, because after not only the AI is used for auto evaluation, after the evaluation is done, it is also providing a feedback after that evaluation. So let me quickly show you some example for coding basically. So here, as you can see, this is a code assessment. Now this code assessment has been auto evaluated by AI, and you can see there is a compiler where the candidate has written their code. Okay, and then this code is completely assessed by AI. And at the bottom, you can even manually have a check as well in this code, and you can see it is providing a grade. Okay, it is graded as 5, and at the bottom it is also providing a feedback as well. So let us quickly I'll just forward this. Yes, so here is the explanation or feedback that it is providing for the candidate, where the candidate, so basically it is saving the time of the supervisor, like they no need to type down this feedbacks for their candidates. Okay, once they just auto grade this will be automatically available to the candidates for the reviewing basically. And in code examples, we also have inline code review. Basically it checks the code line by line, and it tells the candidate where they have gone wrong, what steps they need to take, where syntax errors they have made. So complete detailed evaluation it will provide to the candidates. Basically, it is enabling them to learn during the process of evaluation. Then we also have scenario-based assessment. Basically, we also call this as a subjective assessments, where you can provide a particular scenario or a question to the student, to the candidate, and they can write or type down the answers in a editor box, and they can submit. And then the auto evaluation will happen. Again, why it is smart, intelligent? Because it is providing a feedback at the end. As you can see on the screen, for each question, for each evaluation that is done, it is providing the grades, and it is providing a feedback as well for the candidates. Then we also have the oral assessments. Again, the format is slightly different for oral assessment. Here, the candidate, they can record their voices against the question, and then they can submit. And then it transcript that voice to a text, and then it performs the evaluation. Let me quickly show you this short.
वर्तमान बिक्री रणनीति ग्रामीण बाजारों में कितनी प्रभावी है, यह जानने के लिए मेरा मानना है कि इसकी कुछ विशेषताएं सकारात्मक है, लेकिन कुछ खामियां भी है। ग्रामीण क्षेत्रों में डिजिटल लेन-देन को बढ़ावा देने के लिए स्कैन एंड पे जैसी सेवाएं
Vivek
बहुत
ji,
उपयोगी हो सकती है।
this kind of assessment we designed for one of our clients for almost there's 800 sales field guys on the ground and for multi languages, Hindi, Marathi, Tamil, Telugu, English, right? And we have given them the scenario based questions, not only the multiple choice question, because multiple choice question just check your recall, but you give the scenario based question here.
Yeah.
That okay.
But can video also be uploaded and video can be evaluated?
Yes. Video can also be evaluated, right? So here we are checking their cognitive capability, their negotiation capability, critical thinking. Imagine कि एक सिनेरियो बेस्ड क्वेश्चन है कि आप किराना दुकान वाले के पास गए, उसने बोला कि भाई पेमेंट मंडे को कलेक्ट करना। जब आप वहां पहुंचे तो वो बोलता है कि आप अगले सोमवार को आना क्योंकि आपका फीडबैक प्रोडक्ट का खराब है, तो आप कैसे बिहेव करोगे? So this actually requires his presence of mind, and you can't really capture in multiple choice question. The challenge was with us that for sophisticated sales guys, those who are sitting in the office, MBAs, you can give them the laptop and give them the HBR case study and they can really respond. But over here, they're on the field, right? And they don't have access to this large compute, right? So they have only access to the mobile phone and they can really see the simulation case, scenario-based case, and respond through their voice. So that was an amazing experience, and we could really measure their cognitive capability at multi-dimension. Go ahead, Parvesh.
Yes, so here as you can see, it is providing a feedback in English. At the same time, the candidate can even select that in which language they want the feedback. For example, in this instance, you can see here, the feedback is provided in Hindi as well. So the candidate has a freedom to make sure that in which language they want the feedback from the AI system that we are using, correct? So now we'll go to the next part where we'll quickly show some model where how the platform can be used to integrate Kirkpatrick model or any other model as well, because this is a model agnostic platform where you can use any other model that you are using. Basically, why we are showing Kirkpatrick, it is widely used in the world. So let me quickly share. So in Kirkpatrick, as you can see, there are 4 levels basically, where the first level starts with the reaction, where you can take the employee feedback, where after the training is done, how the training was, what is the feedback about the training. Okay, so this platform will help you to take that survey and put it in this platform. In the second level, all the assessment that we have just seen, the different type of assessment, you can have the assessment on the same platform itself. You can have the information on the same platform. Third is the behavior, basically taking the survey of your employees after the training is done, after the evaluations are done, where they are actually implementing this training and this knowledge in their day-to-day workflow. Even after that, you can take that survey, you can put that into the system. Okay, finally you can take the survey from your supervisor, input from them, actually if the employees are using this skills knowledge or not. And finally, on the last screen, you need all these surveys and this learning to be on a single screen, and then to evaluate whether really the effectiveness is been measured, it has been achieved or not. So there you go. Basically, you can just quickly have a look at this screen. As you can see on this left screen, we have shown you all the feedback that was taken. So this is a formula, what formula that we're using for normalizing the data to get the weighted score, correct? On the left side, you can see these are the forms that was captured, the data, the information from the employees. And on the right side, you can see how we have normalized the information that we have got, the score. on the extreme right side, you can before that you can even highlight or mention the weightage for each form, what weightage you want to put. For example, here you can see 10% weightage for behavior, 40% for learning. Okay, and on that basis, this weighted score will get mapped. And finally, once you get the weighted score, you can get the aggregated or the combination of all this weighted score, and you can basically through this table you will get to know whether the achievement or finally it has been achieved or not through this complete activity, correct? So here, and this completely you can modify, you can change this model as well, basically the information you can see on the screen. So this was the fourth level basically of the Kirkpatrick. So as you can see, this is some glimpse of the forms that are captured by the candidates or by the employees. This is the form questions and what are their inputs they have put, you can see. Correct. So basically the idea is that like to be everything on a single platform, which will help you not to go here and there, and you can see and take the decision on that basically. And finally, as these are very high stake evaluation or we can say, so on that basis, really the secure environment for assessment is required, maybe for hiring, maybe for L&D assessments. For there, we have a dual video proctoring mechanism where it creates an environment where the candidate needs to go through this assessment in a dual video proctoring method, where the main camera of the laptop or desktop will capture the face of the candidate, and there will be a secondary camera that is basically a mobile phone that will be capturing the screen of the employee basically. So please have a look at this
With
short
Assessfy
video.
dual camera proctoring, while the candidate is taking the assessment, the laptop camera focuses on the candidate, and a secondary camera, usually the candidate's mobile phone placed on a stand beside them, captures the laptop screen and surrounding area. This setup helps monitor for any malpractice, such as screen switching, Google searches, running Copilot tools in the background, or using ChatGPT. The entire video recording is also available for manual review to ensure the integrity of the assessment.
Yes. So basically, we have seen a lot of cases where the candidates, employees are using Copilot and dual screen basically to do the cheating. So here, this will definitely reduce down that chance of doing the cheating. And basically, it will look like this when you're monitoring as a supervisor. You can see a screen on your laptop where you can see the frame from the front camera and the mobile camera basically. That's it from my side. Thanks a lot. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Purvesh. Thank you so much for this enlightening demonstration. So I think this Kirkpatrick model implementation which Purvesh has shown, so I discussed with a lot of people across the world. One of the major reason why Kirkpatrick model is not being implemented at a scale, because you run thousands of training programs for thousands of employees. It is extremely difficult to really track like a multiple, like a tons of the Excel sheet and then create the aggregated, say, score, and then try to identify the explainability of that score, right? So first, tracking those sheet, creating the consolidated score, compiling the data becomes a humongous task. And that's the reason most of the people are not doing, right? And that's what we try to really simplify in last 2 years of research, that at one place you can really combine, fetch the data, and it can really give you the insight. Now, we are open to all the audience. If you have any questions, please feel free to really ask. You can really type on the chat, or you can request to activate your microphone. You can also name the speaker whom you are addressing this question. So we have one question from Kumarab. Is there provision for AI interaction? I'm talking about the live interaction and not the feedback. Yes, there's a provision for live interaction through the chat or through voice or any other medium. Okay, Vivek ji has asked, can assessment get integrated with our LMS? Yes, we have the open APIs, and you can integrate with any kind of Scrum compliant LMS, which could be Blackboard or Moodle or Desire to Learn or any other LMS. So you can really to and fro the data from multiple systems. Now, as we are trying to really wrap up this panel discussion, let's have the closing remarks from all our speakers, limiting to 1 minute so that we can really close it on the time. So starting with you, Vivek.
No, definitely. I think very useful. We, as L&D practitioners, I'm sure all of us have used, I've seen and at least explored the Kirkpatrick model. So exciting that we would be able to probably put it into place. And I really loved what Sumit actually mentioned, and I'll probably buy the book and read that. And definitely, this is definitely useful, and we'll explore this. Thank you.
Wonderful. Devdutt?
Yeah, so overall, a healthy discussion had number of insights with you guys. So would definitely like to see further. And SSV is definitely doing a great job. So that is definitely going to help us out. The number of questions we were having in our minds, how to track them with the help of AI. Having the questions and looking at it to be implemented in a real time, that actually gives me the joy, and how we can definitely look after it. So thanks for inviting me, and it was a really great session, and it was a really great interaction with you guys. Thank you.
Wonderful. Anju?
Yeah, thank you. Thanks once again for calling us for this interaction. And it had been a great time with you all knowing each other. And I just want to say ki AI won't replace it, it will amplify us. So as if I just was just hearing you all, we got more ideas how can as an L&D team we can work more. So thank you. Thanks once again for inviting us.
Wonderful. Dr. Arpita, your closing remarks.
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me. It was great hearing all of you. And as I said, that AI is your L&D strategic partner, one that never sleeps, one that never forgets, and will always nudge you towards the better. So I think AI is a strategic learning partner, and I really love the demo which SSFI gave. And we'll definitely explore it and see whether we can have any good synergies. But was definitely awed by what you have shown today. And lastly, this isn't about replacing the human touch. It's about enhancing the human potential. So all the best to all of you, and thank you so much for inviting me and enlightening me on the expanded use cases of AI.
Wonderful. Sumit, your final words.
Yeah, thanks everyone. It was great talking to everybody. I think my final bit of advice, inputs for everybody will be develop your AI roadmaps, train your teams. The more people become comfortable with various aspects of AI, the easier it will be to implement, sell to your leaders, create cross-functional teams with your IT, business, and your own teams, of course. The bottom line is that your company's AI success will be as much about the vision as about adoption. The companies that will pull ahead will be those that treat learning measurement not as compliance requirement, but as a strategic advantage that measures business outcomes. Assessify, we've already seen, is a tool that helps us there. Let's adopt tools like these. We're all adopting tools in content creation anyways. There's no learning team that's not using AI. Let's expand it to how we hire, how we measure people's performance, measure results, and create success stories. All the best, everybody.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. So all the speakers, Anju, Vivek, Devdatta, Dr. Arpita, Sumit, Raviji, right? So thank you so much for joining this panel discussion and all lovely audience from across the world. I think this is just the beginning of this conversation. I think this is not the closing of this conversation, right? This is such a deep topic, right? And I think we need to really have the series of panel discussions and roundtables to really, how do we really operationalize? How do we really take little steps to really start implementing it? And as Dr. Arpita said, rightly said that yes, this is not here to replace the human being. This is going to really augment our capability, not by 10x, it could be 100x or a million x, we really don't know, right? And as Alan Turing during the Second World War rightly said when he really invented the first computer, that if you have to really fight a machine, you can't really fight a machine with hands, you need a machine. And today, if if we can really take the assistance of the digital brain to really augment our biological brain, I think this is the best time and we can really all of us, we can really leverage on the capabilities of artificial intelligence. Thank you so much. With this note, let's say
Thank you.
goodbye for a while before we join for the next session. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you,
sir.
thank you,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Looking,
Yes, thank
yeah,
you.
and looking forward to meet
Thank
you
you
sometime
all.
in physical world.
Sure.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.